Here we are driving down Broadway, Seattle, Washington. I just came back from Tokyo about 2 months ago. I lived in Tokyo more or less for about 10 years of my life. And here I am back in Seattle. I don't even recognize Broadway anymore. See that building, that huge, massive building? They did all this developing here and all that stuff. They basically ruined the Broadway that I knew and loved and grew up with. Basically, they have destroyed Broadway for the most part. They just keep developing it, and that and the whole city and everything. In fact, you want to know the truth? I was going to junior high school, and we used to take a bus here, back here and forth. The school bus went down Broadway right here, and there was this guy with this really nice car. It was like a rare sunny day and everything, and we freaking, all of us just at once, I don't know if it was my idea, but we all spit on this guy's car at once. I mean, just hundreds of loogies all over his nice paint job and all that stuff. Right here on Broadway, like 40 some years ago. And he was so upset, he honked at the bus driver, made the bus pull us over, and made us get out and wipe it off what we spit on his car. But anyways, Fred Meyers used to be here. This is now QFC. They used to have like a Baskin and Robbins and all that stuff. And so I'm going to talk about the solutions, and I'm going to show you the problem. So anyways, Seattle's terribly burdened with traffic right now. That used to be a Baskin and Robbins. I mean, that was never a Bank of America. I think that was a Bank of America back there. And then see all this developing and all this housing and stuff. So we're talking about the little bit of problems. Before I show you the major problem, before I get into the engineering here, oh shit. Before the engineering and all that stuff, so I'm going to talk about the solution. So I lived in Tokyo, Japan, and basically what they do is they have most crowded city in the world. Basically what they do is they have subways that run underground, and they go at about between 70 and 100 miles an hour. And basically what they do is they get you from point A to point B. So if you're in downtown Seattle, you go from downtown Seattle to Everett in about, say, 15 minutes or whatever. But these total freaking stupid engineers here won't build a subway, and they try and blaming different reasons on soil and all that stuff. Well, let me tell you, the subways in Tokyo go underneath riverbeds. If there's nothing more unstable than going underneath a riverbed in a river, you know, to dig a tunnel and all that, there's nothing more unstable than that. So they can't blame it on the soil or whatever they've been trying to blame it on. See, this is now a freaking, it's a stoplight camera, what they changed that into. This is good old Dick's Drive-In. Long live Dick's. This is a freaking, I got in big trouble after I went there one time because a friend of mine that worked there told my ex-wife that I was with these two twins, these two hot twins that I was going up camping with, Casey and Wendy, and that finished off that marriage pretty quick. And then he tried to get down her pants. That's a long story, but anyways, it's Dick's Drive-In. So in Tokyo, Japan, what you have is you have these high-speed subways. They go underneath the city. They go all over the city. You can do your shopping, your dating, your work, everything. And so I basically, when I was working there, I worked full-time. I went everywhere in the city because my job, I had to go to different studios all over the city. They either, and if we were shooting up in the mountains or something, we'd go to a certain train station, we'd get off the train, location bus would pick us up, and then we'd go to the mountains and we'd do shooting, and then we'd shoot scenes up there that they need to film and all that stuff. And within Tokyo, we took our subways, to all the different studios. You can get at the most major studio that shot Seven Samurai. Actually, it's not right by the train station, but it's close, where they shot Seven Samurais and Godzilla. You can freaking take the train and get within a quarter mile of that studio, and then you have to hoof it in from there. But I mean, now look at this piece of crap. I should have been filming it earlier. This piece of crap is part of the problem right there. What you're looking at is light rail. So anyways, in Japan, what they do is the money situation is taken care of with an IC card before you get on the train platform. So the financial transition is done. Then you go to a different part of the subway, and you have approximately 45 seconds. I've counted them all. 45 to 50 seconds, unless some idiot gets stuck in the door, for that door to open and close. So you have 45 seconds at the max to get on and off that train. So the business is taken care of at a station really quick, and then it moves on really fast at the speeds I was talking about. Financial transactions are done with an IC card before you even get onto the train platform. You have to go through a gate before you're even allowed in that area. You can't break through the gate. People have broken through the gate, and I've gone through the gate when I didn't have enough money and didn't want to pay. So you can get past the gate. But anyways, and then in Los Angeles, see this photo enforce thing? They stopped doing that because more people died from these light photo enforced things. More people have died from people trying to make the light. But all they care about is money. All they care about is profits. The little self-interest groups. Look at this crap. This is what we're going to get into. We have a good 4-lane street here. Itchy, Ni, San, Yan, Go. Actually, we have 5 lanes. 5 lanes right here. That's been turned into a parking spot. That's been obfuscated by something else. That is a freaking parking island over there. All for this thing. This piece of crap right up here. So all these lanes have been destroyed. All these 5 lanes, which they directed traffic for years, they could take away all the parking spots on this main arterial and let this arterial flow like it should. Now look at this. This is in the middle of the frickin' road. It's in the middle of the frickin' road. Can you believe it? Look at this. They got parking on a main arterial. This is a main arterial. This has been a main arterial for years and will continue to be. How many people you see getting on this? About 20 getting on it right now. Now, that does not justify this thing taking up 5 lanes of road. See that? Itchy, Ni, San, Yan, Go. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You destroy 5 lanes of traffic for this idiotic piece of junk that you have to watch out for, that you might run into. That wouldn't be a problem if the solution to this is if they elevated this thing up in the air like a monorail with damn rainy clouds. That's how you know I'm in Seattle. If they elevated this on a tram and made it into a freaking monorail, then this wouldn't be obstructing the roads. The monorail would run above the roads and the roads could run underneath the monorail, just like they did in downtown South. They've had that since 1962, before 1962. And they don't think about re-implementing that. They just build this piece of junk. Now I'm going to show you how many people are on it. Okay. Empty seat, empty seat, empty seats. It's about half full. I don't know the seating capacity on those. I haven't stated. I've driven this road at 5 in the morning. Maybe a week and a half ago, this exact same road here. I have driven. There I have an arrow I have to go. I have driven this same road, and it's the same amount of obstruction, beginning rush hour traffic, and on that light rail thingamajig, car, whatever you want to call it, I counted like 2 passengers. There's another light rail thing in downtown Seattle that I'm showing you enough of what I want to talk about that I could film and show you how that totally obstructs traffic. All they had to do is have elevated above the ground. It would have been a win-win situation because it would have been cost more money, so people like me that are in the construction engineering trades would make more money building it, and it would be a win-win situation everywhere. And more people, all the rich people that won't pay for the taxes to build it, would be able to get to work if they have to even go to work to get their jobs easier. But the thing is the corporations and the people should be developing the infrastructure in Seattle in particular, and the rest of the United States are just basically skating, and they're sticking the taxpayer with the corporation's problem. Because the corporations, they hire people, which is good, and the economy in Seattle, which is good, and they're creating more jobs, which is good. But which isn't good is they're not being responsible and straightening out some of the horrible traffic scenarios I just showed you, like how they just destroyed 5 perfectly good lanes on a road for no reason. I mean, so you develop the infrastructure right. You want to have parking, you have a parking lot where the cars can park. They don't need to park on the road where the cars should be driving. Really basic, isn't it? Okay, solution, Japan, what they did, they have parking garages. So if you want to get on a train, there is a parking lot with a parking garage in most of the stations Most of them, not all, because some are way too crowded, have the parking lots and all that stuff. And the really super big, huge stations have other stations that you can take trains to get into, that you can park to get into the super stations, which are the biggest in the world. Other than maybe Moscow or Shinjuku. It's a tough call. I haven't been to Moscow in a long time, so I don't know. I don't go by stuff I read on the internet. I go by what I see. And this is just a big jumbled up horrible mess of traffic that the engineers have screwed up. It's not the people's fault that want to move in and live here and get work. I understand that. It's the people that develop the transportation infrastructure is the problem. And if the corporations want to bring them in here, give them jobs, and they didn't want to develop the infrastructure, then they too are the problem, because they shouldn't give people in jobs. And now I'm not going to have time in this video to show you this, because I'm not doing this and driving. This is not happening. So so this is more on the Seattle traffic. So basically I'm not going to be able to show you this, but anybody who builds a goddamn a stadium in the middle of downtown Seattle is a freaking moron. It has screwed up the transportation for the port workers to load and unload ships effectively as a working port. Therefore, a lot of the work has gone to Tacoma for the longshoremen, which made big money and supported their families and brought money into the economy. The shipping, which made big money and supported things. And that's what Seattle was. Seattle was all about ships. It was a port for millions of years. For the Indians, the pre-Indians, the Native Americans, before we even came here, Seattle was a port. Thousands of years ago, maybe even millions, maybe in Jurassic Park days, Seattle was a port. But what do? They try to take it from a port and make it into a damn tourist city. It's all for the frickin' super ignorant rich liberals that just and people that just don't give a crap. Have a working functioning city. To have a working functioning city, you need to have working functioning transportation systems that get the working functioning workers in and out of the transportation systems. And maybe I will talk about working functioning workers in Seattle as opposed to Japan. Okay, so anyways, basically the idiots that built stadiums, and they built the Kingdome, which was a total joke, and I watched them blow it up because of engineering, because of the same freaking idiot engineers. I can't believe the stupid engineers in the state. Talk about Galloping Gertie, the bridge in Tacoma that fell in the ocean. We can talk about the floating bridge that fell in the Hoods Canal. We can talk about the Hoods Canal bridge that sank. We can talk about the bridge on Lake Washington near Bill Gates' house that sank. We can talk about that like all day long. We can talk about this stuff, and it's just it's a total joke. In fact, I shouldn't have made this video, but it's just to show you what the real problem is and solutions of how to deal with the traffic problem in Seattle, which will get worse. This will become like New York, and it will be worse than New York. You can mark my words. I can predict the future. All I can do is, like I'm here from Japan, make money, take money out, and then leave, just like everybody else did, just like they did in Los Angeles.